All right, so I'm going to talk about what happened with Trump and Rob Reiner. Because I was over on X and True Social when this stuff was going on, and I have yet to see anything that they were ever so angry about. They were angry about, a lot of things. Don't get me wrong, like the Epstein files, and I'm blanking out the other things. But there's been plenty of things that they go after him about. But this was different. This was 50% of them were calling this out, telling him it was disgusting to take it back. How dare he? Even on True Social, because when they talk to him on True Social, it's like, dear sir, may we please ask your benevolence a question? Would you be so kind as to not phrase that way, and perhaps say something a little kinder? Dear sir, that we are so eternally grateful for, as you are saving our country. That's how they talk to him. They sound like Oliver with a little bowl. This time they didn't. They're like, you better put your ego in check. You take that back. How dare you? And I think they felt a lot of pain because it's like, you threw us under the bus, you motherfucker. Like 600 people got in trouble for posting about Charlie Kirk. Made this big whoop-de-doo about, don't do that. And then they were trying not to do that, and they were trying to be chill, and then he went out and just butchered it. And they just felt like they got thrown under the bus. And they're like, well, if they get fired, then what do you get? I mean, they were really calling him out, but they were just like, bro, the midterms are coming, and not to mention, you suck right now. Everything you promised hasn't happened. We have a shit economy, and you want to come up here and throw us under the bus? I don't think so. I think there'd been some mercy there if everything was going great. Everybody's got a little more room for people that are acting like jerks. If they're providing people a lot of things, they're not doing that right now. And I think people are surprised that he did that about Rob Reiner, or about their reaction, but I wasn't, because a lot of people grew up with him. And I don't think a lot of people know his politics necessarily, if you're not on X. I do know that he said great things when Charlie passed. He was on Piers Morgan and was just like, that's not okay. And I pray for his wife and kids, and this is terrible. And, we need to not do that, kind of thing. So I would say half of the Trump supporters were telling Trump to get his head out of his ass. And the other half were like, well, he was mean to him. And then they were all in fighting. It was hard to even get screenshots last couple of days, because it's been so much fighting between that and Susie Wiles coming out, because I already hate Susie Wiles. And now it's like I feel like a lot more of them can feel that this is collapsing. They can feel it's over. It's just, they're trying to see what they can salvage, how they're going to survive. A lot of them are like, I'm never going to get conned again. Like, well, you will. Unless you have a lot of people willing to help you and teach you, you're going to get conned again, or you get suckered into another scam. So that's why it's important in how we interact with them. So it was really interesting to see that. But, when you mess with someone that people hold to their heart, like I don't usually get emotional about celebrities dying. And I'm also highly overstimulated, grouchy, very emotional, fatigued, all this stuff. Like I'm going through one of those time periods where like you feel like your sleeve hooks on every doorknob and you get jerked back like that. Yeah, like that's how I feel the last couple of days. Like I can feel every stitch on my clothing, every sound. Like my dog's like, I'm like, I hope we make this out alive kind of thing. But when you attack someone who is a beloved figure to them, like, don't know very many people that hate Princess Bride, or When Harry Met Sally, or A Few Good Men, or, tons of movies that he's done that were kind of feel-good movies, or things that you could help process through, or just they were adorable. Or when he's in them, he usually plays a lovable character. So that rattled a lot of people, and I have screenshots too of people that said that my parents snapped. They're like, F that dude. F that dude. Like, fuck off. And again, I think it's because they're trying to like hold it together with him, but every day he's acting more ridiculous every day. And then last night they were saying he's the first Jewish president. That's all over there again. So there's like 3 different waves converging on top of the fact that nothing's been delivered on. And he's going to have his thing tonight. And I'm sure he's going to be like, we're doing great. We have trillions coming in. We're going to be so rich next year. And then he'll probably go off on all the, immigrants he's getting, because whenever his poll numbers are low, he has to hype up what he's done, which is nothing. And then he talks about who he's going to go after. And I'm guessing he's going to announce war with Venezuela. And he said that they're going to have to give the land back, which of course I posted last night on TikTok. I'm like, yeah, there was no land taken back. But sure enough, on X, I'm like, I learned today that 200 years ago, they took our land. And I'm like, oh God, but still, I don't think people want to go to war with them. Only the real hard ones that have his mushroom in their mouth, the Kool-Aid drinkers, and there's getting to be fewer and fewer by the day. But it really was hard to take. I got lots of screenshots, but it's like they're all over the place because they're infighting. And like I said, I can't tell right from left, and there's a lot of left people in there saying awful things too, and I'm just like, I just want to wash myself of all of it. I want to get off the left and the right island and float into the land of no thank you. I'm just going to vote quietly over here because y'all scare me. Okay, so all that being said, I'm going to play a video from Nick Fuentes. I know. But I saw this video, and there's a few things I want you to see that I'm going to teach you about from watching this. I am going to hop in there and correct him right away on something he's saying in case someone that isn't on the left watches this. But there's some things I want to explain to you that I heard in here. And his take on Trump, I think, is totally accurate. I think it's good to hear. I think it's good to hear what he's saying to other people. And it's a good reminder, he's an absolute POS. That's why when people are like, you're going to get drug into his cult. I'm like, I could never. He's a monster. It's just, he's a monster who tells the truth about his leaders or his opponents or things like that other people need to hear. And the things he teaches, I can then see in the language online. So I can tell who's picked it up or who's not, because he says particular phrases. And then I see those phrases throughout the conversations, and I think those are good. But what you also see is how cults propagandize each other. So they get the propaganda at church, they get it from their political leaders, and then friends, family, co-workers, podcasters, people like Alex Jones. They've got all their conspiracy theories, and then they propagandize each other. And it's the same in like religious cults. So I was in the Mormon cult, and all of these kind of lore and these stories about groups that are out to get you, they somehow just develop this like telephone, and then you suddenly have all these things you're super terrified of that are just made up stories. And he starts off with that. But the other thing I want you to hear is when he talks about how the left wants to hurt you. This is real war. They want to chew on your bones. They want to whatever your organs. Like when I tell you that people on the right are being told to be terrified of us, it's not just from him. They're getting it from their religious leaders, they're getting it from their political leaders, and they're propagandizing each other. And I guarantee you a lot of it's coming from like Steve Bannon, Alex Jones, people like that. I mean, but there's so many of them now, and they really are convinced, and they're convincing themselves, and they convince each other. That's part of a cult, is that they believe that we want to kill them, hurt their children. And so when everybody fights with them, that just re-triggers that belief. And I see them start saying like, what are we going to end up having to do here? Because they think that if Trump loses, then we are just going to take over and hurt them. And it's a fantasy, but it's one that they spread all over the place. But it is, cults propagandize each other. People on the left do it too. They were doing it about election stuff and all that. Like any minute now, Kamala's going to come in and she's going to take over. And I know, I had that feeling too. It's like, stop. Reality is where it's at. You don't need fantasy. Reality is where it's at. And cults don't live in it. Okay, so I'm going to play Nick's video here. And then at the end, if there's something I need to talk about, I will add that add that in there.
Rob Reiner was not really a partisan. Rob Reiner didn't kill anybody. Tyler Robinson killed people. Antifa was plotting to kill people. Antifa has killed people. BLM has killed people.
Oh, hold up there, little Nicky Poo. We're going to stop to do a little fact checking on that, just in case we have anyone here who doesn't know much about Antifa or Black Lives Matter. All right, here we go. So I asked ChatGPT if people had died at the hands of Antifa here in the United States and Black Lives Matter. And this is what I got. There have been incidents involving individuals associated with Antifa that resulted in violence, but it's important to clarify that Antifa is not a formal organization with a centralized leadership. It is more of a loosely affiliated movement of anti-fascist activists who oppose far-right extremism. So it's not a group, it's more like a way of being. Either you're pro-fascism or you're anti-fascism, which is Antifa. Overall, while there have been violent incidents linked to individuals or groups identifying with Antifa, the movement as a whole does not have a record of organized killings. It's essential to approach such topics with nuance and consider the broader context of political violence in the United States. Next is Black Lives Matter. The Black Lives Matter movement, BLM, is primarily focused on addressing issues of systemic racism, police violence, and social justice. It is a decentralized movement with many local chapters and activists advocating for change through protest advocacy and community organizing. While there have been instances of violence during protests associated with Black Lives Matter, the movement itself does not condone or organize violence. It is important to distinguish between the action of individuals who might identify with or participate in protests and the broader goals of the movement. There have been cases where individuals involved in protests have been accused of violence or have engaged in criminal behavior, but attributing such actions directly to the BLM movement as a whole is misleading. The vast majority of BLM protests have been peaceful and aimed at raising awareness about issues of racial injustice. So, Nicky Nick,
And when Trump goes and makes fun of some celebrity that died, this is more cowardice. And what I mean by that is, I get it. And on some level, I agree. We are in a war with the left. It is a knife fight. It is deadly serious, as evidenced by the fact that Trump was shot and Charlie Kirk was murdered. And this sort of thing happens all the time, and there will be more of it before this is over. And they literally want you dead. They want to eat your organs. They want to chew on your bones. They want to desecrate your corpse. This is not an exaggeration. Like, they want to absolutely destroy you. They want to mutilate you. These are evil people. And it is true that we need to face them with equal ferocity. We need to be intense. We need to want to win. And wanting to win means that the people that want to harm us, we need to want to harm them. And I get that. And Trump said this about Rob Reiner. People defended in the spirit of that. They say, well, we're in this blood feud and whatever. Well, Charlie Kirk was murdered. And what actually happened in the aftermath of that? Was there a crackdown on Antifa? No. Was there a crackdown on the people that actually celebrated? No. Was there a crackdown on anybody that Tyler Robinson knew? We don't even know where the boyfriend is. So just stop with the LARP. People go, Trump posting on True Social about some dead celebrity. That's us fighting the left in a knife fight. No, it fucking isn't. That's vanity. Trump is a sick person that if some other celebrity attacks him, Trump is going to gloat when that person gets stabbed to death by their son with their wife in their home. Because he's a sick, vain, narcissistic person. And that is what he cares about. Think about it this way. Charlie Kirk was his close personal friend. Charlie Kirk in many ways got Trump elected. And Charlie Kirk got shot in the head. Trump could not care less. When he was interviewed by the press, Trump said, yeah, really sad. Anyway, I'm rebuilding the East Wing, as you can see. That's when Charlie Kirk got shot by the left. That's when Charlie Kirk got shot by Antifa, and we're in a war, and people are dying. That's what Trump felt in that moment. He didn't care at all. But when some celebrity that made fun of him on TV got murdered by his kid because of some other thing, because of a drug addiction, Trump is leading the charge. Oh, well, he died because of Trump derangement syndrome. And doesn't that say what Trump is really about? He's this weird boomer who comes from the 80s. He's obsessed with television. So you get some old Hollywood guy who's on TV attacking Trump as a partisan Democrat. And when that guy dies, Trump is going to gloat because that is the sort of thing that he cares about. Because he is vain, because he cares about TV still, because he cares about certain celebrities for some reason, like Rosie O'Donnell and these rivals that he's had over the years. And for him, it seems like the whole thing is about getting one over on them. Winning the election in some way is about getting Rosie O'Donnell back to Ireland and getting back at James Comey. And it's about being able to make fun of people that die, that attacked you on TV. Is Trump really in this fight against the left? Absolutely not. Trump got shot in the ear. Has there been any follow-up on that at all? Have we looked at anybody in relation to that? And Thomas Crooks and Tyler Robinson and anybody that's been involved in any of it? Absolutely not. Antifa and all their related groups, they still operate with impunity. BLM, all of it. So don't tell me now Trump made fun of a dead celebrity. This is about fighting the left. It's got nothing to do with fighting the left. Trump never fights the left. He doesn't fight anybody for that matter. And as far as I'm concerned, it's no different than this stuff about Somalians. Trump gets in front of a press conference and says Somalians are garbage. And the SEALs clap. They go, oh, this is terrific. Okay, well, if they're so terrible, why don't you deport some of them? Oh, wait, that's hard. He'll never do it. That's difficult. That will actually require organization, focus, follow through, discipline. We're not big on those things. We're big on trash talk. We're big on vanity. We're big on legacy. We're big on vulgarity to score cheap points. And it's no different here. Okay, some celebrity that called you a Russian shill died at his house. Well, we're leading from the front on that one. Ha ha, he had Trump derangement syndrome. Too bad. Your best friend got shot in the head by the left. Yeah, gee, that's a shame. Anyway, check out the East Wing. So no, sorry, that doesn't work actually. That excuse doesn't work. You actually need to fight the left. And more than that, this is ugly rhetoric. It is ugly. It is actually evil. Forget for a moment that we are in a war. Someone gets murdered by their son. It's a horrific tragedy. This is a horrible story. And nobody deserves that. I don't care what their politics are, what they said on the internet or on television. Nobody deserves to be murdered, stabbed to death with their wife by their own son, who they tried to help, and their best friend discovers the corpses. It's despicable. And it's despicable to make fun of that. And I do think that, look, somebody like George Bush passes away of old age at the very end, and you talk about his political legacy, that's one thing. Some guy, some producer, some civilian dies at the hands of his kid. It's such a grisly situation. It is objectively awful to make fun of that. Now, if Trump were actually doing what he promised to do, you could overlook the fact that he's a douchebag. You could overlook the fact that he's vain, that he's a narcissist, that he's tactical but not strategic. You could overlook all these things if he was bringing home the goods. That was kind of the deal in 2016. You said, we don't love everything about Trump, but you know what? We're willing to accommodate. It's an acquired taste, but it's okay because he's doing all these other things. But what's actually the pitch now? We get nothing. We get no concessions. There are no deportations. We haven't ended one of the wars. We haven't remade the federal bureaucracy. And then he's a dick on top of it. Then it's all about his vanity and his own self-aggrandizement on top of it. What is the redeeming quality now? It's nothing. It's hollow. It's empty. So that's my take on the Rob Reiner stabbing. No one should be making fun of that. It's not funny. Who could honest to God look at that and laugh? Charlie Kirk, on the other hand, this is somebody who is my mortal enemy, who he was actively trying to suppress my career, ruin my life, all these things. He got shot by a political partisan. He wouldn't debate me, but he would debate the type of person that murdered him. Someone like me could have gotten on the show and said, well, I guess you should have debated me. I could have said some smart alecky thing. I wasn't even thinking that way. Because a young person got shot in public for basically no reason. And that's awful. It's awful that there are two fatherless kids. It's awful that this guy had a daughter who now has to live with this. Her brother is in prison for murdering her parents, who are now dead. Her life is shattered and destroyed, and so many people's lives are destroyed. You go on Truth Social and make a joke about Trump derangement syndrome. It just goes to show there was never anything there. There was never a center. It was always empty. It was always, there was nothing inside there. And there's something tragic about that. Being a part of it for so long, I mean, I jumped off along the way, but you thought at one time that Trump really believed in America, believed in people, or something. I think he believes honestly in nothing. And now the only thing that's left is whatever people are projecting onto it. Whether that's they still think they're fighting the left or whatever it is, the only thing that's left is what people still believe is there, what people are projecting, and that's coming from themselves. It doesn't exist. So Rob Reiner was not really a partisan. Rob Reiner didn't kill anybody. Tyler Robinson killed people. Antifa was plotting to kill people. Antifa has killed people. BLM has killed people.
Okay, congratulations if you made it through. I know he's not the easiest to listen to, but again, that's why it's real hard to get suckered in by him. But I do appreciate the things he says about Trump, and that people on that side, a lot of them can hear him better than us. So I, deliver the good, and then I try and explain the crappy, like that we all want to gnaw on their bones. I don't want to do that or desecrate anybody's body. I don't want to be around anybody's body, so no thank you. But something I want to bring up that he said in there besides Antifa and BLM is, he brought up Charlie being assassinated and the attempt on Trump. Now, whether or not you think you know who did that or you don't think it's real or not, they do, or enough of them do. And so they do think that there are people on the left that are evil, whether they're deep state, Antifa, whoever, that want their leaders dead, and then by proxy want them dead. So when they see things falling apart, they get really scared. That's why they're so angry at the GOP, besides they're not getting what they were promised, but they're just like, if this all falls apart, they are going to come kill us, arrest us, put them in prisons. We'll never see the light of day. Like the way they fantasize about what they think is going to happen. But if we'd have had Bernie taken out and someone almost got AOC or did get AOC, I think we would be paranoid. I would think that they want to hurt us. I just think that. And on top of that, most of these people were born into the cult. Now, it may not be at the level that it is now, but being raised in a cult primes your brain completely just to accept all of this. There's not a lot of fighting back and forth with it because you don't have reason and logic the same as other people that aren't raised in them. So when I was a kid, when I'd want answers about religion, I would go ask my dad because I just wasn't sure what was true or not, and that concerned me. I mean, I'm autistic, and I want the truth. I don't care what it is, I just want the truth. And so I would go ask him questions, and, thinking that's in good faith, like, I just want the truth. And he would take me and pinch me all over my body till I had bruises. And he'd say, that's the truth. You want reality? That's reality. So do you think my subconscious was like, you know what? I'm going to go out and ask some more adults what reality is and what truth is. And is this a dream? Am I making this up? What's God? What's real? No, I think I'm going to keep that to myself. And then eventually your brain just tries to shut down that kind of thinking because it's dangerous. So you just take things at face value. Like you just take it and feelings are facts. So when you argue with them and they get really mad back, it's because to you, if they shared their feeling, they shared a fact. And when you dismiss it, to them, That's like you dismissing evidence. And you can make fun of that all you want to, or you can help them understand logic and how that works. So I didn't even know about causation and correlation to the last, I don't know, maybe COVID. Just didn't know that. I mean, I learned more about logic and thinking things through, but conspiracy theories, 10 years ago could have grabbed me because I didn't have the things that you need to be able to walk that through. I see a lot of people on the left that don't necessarily have all that either. They get grabbed right up by conspiracy theories, and we just act like it's the right, but it's both sides. There's a lot of logic and critical thinking that's missing. It's just there's a lot more missing over there because they were shamed when they tried to do that. So you can't be in church asking questions, because if you do, it's like, are you doubting God? Is Satan telling you to say that? And when you start saying that, when you talk about Satan and that you're falling into that, that means you're never going to see your family again. That means that Satan's going to take everything from you. You're going to be punished. You're going to burn in hell forever. But mostly you're going to be ripped away from your family, and that you're evil and that you're bad. And all these things get assigned to you. So you do everything that you can not to do that or be that way, right? And you shut all those down. You're not consciously, your brain just does it as part of the defense mechanism. And I get this one question all the time. It's like, why don't they Google it? Google's free. Because their brain doesn't even think to question it. If Fox News tells them XYZ, that's just the truth, because Fox News feels safe. It works like stranger danger. They're taught that if the outside world offers you any information or tells you anything, it's poisonous, it's toxic, it's going to hurt you, it's going to hurt your children. You don't listen to it. You stay as far away from it as you can. So it's like the less you know, the more ignorant you are of the world, like the purer and the safer you are, and the more godly you are, because you are just in God's hands. You don't need the rest of the world. You don't need science. You don't need certain aspects of math. There's lots of things you don't need, because you're living the divine law, which is the highest law, and you're going to die, and you want to get to heaven so you can be with your family, and the rest is just a temporary nonsense thing. Like, it's all about the afterlife. So when you say, oh, well, Trump did this, that's coming from someone who is a stranger danger, and you may as well have a white van and be holding them candy. Now, they're not going to go Google if that candy is safe. They're just not going to. They're just going to run, or it's not even going to occur to them. It's like you guys think they've got this remote control and they can say, tell myself to have a thought to Google that. Even though the things that I know are safe don't make me feel like I don't need to. The thought never enters their mind. So you want to judge them for not doing it, but there was nothing that told them to do it. And then if they do, let's say they're like, well, I'm going to check on that. Or you sit with them and you go, okay, we're going to look this up. Did Trump do whatever? Which website are they going to believe? Because if it doesn't say Fox, if it doesn't say OAN, if it doesn't say Newsmax, the rest are stranger danger. They're tainted. They're propaganda. This is exactly how cults are set up. The truth can only come from us or these specific groups, and the rest are demonic. They're lying. They're trying to deceive you. So it is very, it just tells me that there's a lot of learning that needs to happen here, because people get so simplistic, like, oh, why don't they just do this? I don't know. When you're in a bad relationship, why don't you have the thought, oh, why don't I just leave? Yeah, I think I'll just leave. This is exactly like being in an abusive relationship. And Trump is an absolute narcissist. So they live in a narcissistic, abusive relationship where, he trashes them, he makes fun of them, and then all of a sudden he'll just do something really good and happy for them. Like, oh, I just love you guys. Oh, Trump's going to do this. And everybody's like, yay. Or like, I'm going to get all the criminals out, and I'm going to make great life for you. Yay. You believe in those fails, you're losers. Or he just ignores them, goes off with his tech bros, or he goes with Bibi Netanyahu. All the people they don't want him to, he's around them. All he has to do is show some kindness every once in a while. And what may look like, oh, he's doing something nice for them, to them, they just feel like a warmth and a glow, like they're being seen again, they're being heard again. He's protecting them. Oh, he remembered us again. Just like God, he does all these things that make your life so chaotic, and then all of a sudden something nice comes along. It's like, oh, God remembered me. I'm not alone. I'm okay. Their brains are completely wired differently, and they can unlearn that and learn something new. And there's so many people acting like they can't progress. A lot of the leaders or content creators that you like were on the right. We grew up on there. That's why we know what we know. That's why we're good at what we do. But every day I keep seeing more of these websites saying, or websites of content creators like, I will not forgive you. You will not be welcome here. I don't care what you do. You're not one of us. Stay over there. We don't want anything to do with you. You're not a good person. Makes me sick to my stomach. And it makes me start to feel like there's people that just want the high moral ground, and they would be happy for this to keep going on. Because if this really is dire, if this really is something that we need to end, then our behaviors have to change. And if people want to say, well, they're the ones, there's no self-reflection there. There's no emotional maturity there. There has to be an adult. And if these people on the right didn't get the proper learning, and they grew up in places where they did not have proper information, that's the same as like they didn't have healthy food, they didn't have good water, they didn't have health care. You'd listen to that, go, okay, then we need to help that. They didn't get the proper information. Their brains weren't trained properly. That doesn't mean that it can't be. It's like, okay, we're going to give them good water, good food. We're going to get them education. We're going to get them clothing. Yeah, then they can start to grow and assimilate. But you have to be willing to do that. And you're willing to do it if it's the physical things. But right now it's going to be emotional things, and it's going to be education, and it's going to be having to be uncomfortable so that we can move through this and get to a better place so we don't have to relive this over and over again.